I'm Jim Schneider of Schneider Construction, and I'm here with...
I'm Shannon Paschall with Coastal Realty, and today we're talking about why you should hire a general contractor.
Shannon, thanks for coming by. We've known each other some time, and I am on your email distribution list, and I got recently one of your emails about the importance of hiring a contractor, a general contractor, which clearly resonated with me. So I reached out to you and Jeff and Kate and thought, let's do a podcast about this. I think it's important that people understand the value of a contractor, a general contractor, when doing any kind of project.
Thank you for shedding light on that for us. My clients really love that email blast too, and they're always asking me, why do I need a general contractor? So thanks for sharing, and tell us a little bit about what you think the reasons are behind the scenes and why they need a general contractor.
Well, I think the value a general contractor adds is the fact that there are so many moving parts. I think that 40 years ago, 50 years ago, building a home, remodeling a kitchen, whatever, was a different task. It was a different process than it is now. We live in an information age. There are a lot of options. There's a lot of information out there. A lot of systems. Things are more technical, and I also have identified over the years that, again, we go back to 40 or 50 years ago. You had carpenters, you had contractors, you had workers that would come, put their tool belt on, and they did everything. Now, everybody specializes. So when you do a project, you may deal with, depending on the size of the project, anywhere from a half a dozen to a couple of dozen contractors and suppliers. And without someone who really understands the nuances of how all those things go together, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble. For
sure. Why don't you, for people that might not know, why don't you talk a little bit about what a general contractor is?
The general contractor is like the quarterback. Okay. So the general contractor is the one that kind of steers the ship. I look at you look at somebody like an architect or a designer. They put the design together, and they're the creative element. The owner is the driver. The owner is the one that gives us direction and tells us where to go. The contractor is the operations person. The contractor is the one that keeps the planes taking off and landing on time without crashing.
Right.
There's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of back and forth. I've been in this business my whole life, and I can say that it's probably one of the most fluid and inexact sciences that there are.
For sure.
The principles are very much the same, and the technology and the way things go together are very much the same. But the human element and all of the moving pieces just creates a lot of it's a lot of work to be able to coordinate all that. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's not likely to go very well.
Right, and it can cost you a lot more money in the end if you don't do things right from the beginning. So I see that a lot on my side of things. So it's great to have people like you on our side.
Well, I think that's for somebody like me. My job is to mitigate some of that mistake, overcost, overrun type of stuff to add value to the project.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I have some clients, actually, they decided to be their own general contractor, and I think it cost them around $200,000. Right. So they learn the hard way, but, so I definitely send people their way now. I'm like, hey, this is the behind the scenes, what could happen, you know what I mean, if you don't use a general contractor. So it's definitely interesting to see. So I think they would, if they could go back in time now, they definitely would have hired a general contractor like yourself to do their project. So it makes sense to me. We have a lot of people, on YouTube think they can build a brand new house now, so that's not the case, of course. That's why you come in. Yeah.
Well, I think construction, like many other disciplines, is something that a lot of folks think that because they worked construction in college, they're able to be a builder. It's kind of like kids. I was a dad coach, right? I played baseball, so I was a baseball coach.
Yeah.
Well, I got to a point where, as my son got to about 12 years old, I realized I belonged on the other side of the fence. So Similarly, I think when people are going to do projects on their home, I think that there's a certain level of project that is absolutely a DIY kind of situation. But I think there becomes a threshold where you have to recognize that it's time to hire a professional.
Right.
I've always appreciated the clients that we've had the opportunity to work with that are very successful, very intelligent people, but they know what they know.
Right.
And they're willing to pay somebody like me to do what I know.
Exactly.
And again, once you get past a certain level of project, it's just prudent. It's the best investment you can make to hire a general contractor to manage the project.
What has reality TV, HGTV, and those programs done to you as a builder in your career? What changes have you noticed?
Well, I think what I've noticed is it makes everybody an expert.
Yes.
I think it's comical that folks think that the project's going to be done when you come back from the bathroom.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be $1,500. So many of those shows are subsidized by products and services,
Sponsors.
and there's also an element of that catching lightning in a bottle. I've seen those shows where these folks have found this incredible door in somebody's barn somewhere and they've restored it, and that's a great story, but it's not something you can duplicate.
Right.
So now everybody expects every contractor to be able to do that, and that's not really going to be the case. I remember talking with somebody about HGTV and about that element of our industry, and they wrote a newsletter. They wrote an article called "It's Always Sunny in TV Land,"
Nice.
and the whole point was that there's nothing wrong with HGTV. There's nothing wrong with that reality construction real estate part of our entertainment, industry. But we have to view it as entertainment. We shouldn't see it as a trusted source of information.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. I 100% agree with you. Yep. Our house is our biggest investment in life, so why not protect it?
Yeah. And I'm fascinated by how many people will put more effort into identifying what level of iPhone they're going to buy than
Yeah, exactly.
what they're going to invest in their home.
Exactly. I 100%. Whenever I go to meet somebody to go sell their house, I can definitely tell the DIY or a professional. You know what I mean? I'm always like, oh, we're going to have to get this fixed before we can list and this fixed before we list.
Right.
So definitely I see that happen all the time. The same thing. I see it, the same thing. People are like, oh, well, I saw on TV, they got all brand new windows for $2,000. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, that's not realistic. So that same thing happens on our end too. And especially I love when they go to like Paris and they get a huge mansion for $100,000. Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah. Not realistic, but fun to watch.
Well, it's been my experience, and even here locally in Cape Charles, several years ago, one of the home shows really pitched this local area as, hey, you can get a lot for your money here. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it paints an unrealistic picture for somebody like you.
Yes.
Because there might be that one great deal that now everybody wants to superimpose on the rest of the market and every house that's for sale.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I see that all the time too. People call and said, hey, I saw this foreclosure, find me one just like it. I'm like, that was just a rare commodity. You know what I mean? So it would be lovely. We're not in those times anymore. I have that one client of mine who's selling their house, and they did all the repairs themselves inside. And then the buyer, of course, wanted a Class A contractor to check everything out, but he had a licensed home inspector instead. So that kind of backfired on us. So then we had to go back and have a contractor go out. Basically, it's just costing him a lot of money that he didn't need to pay, So I think he's kind of kicking himself right now, wishing that he would have just hired the general contractor from the start.
Yeah.
So
I've run into that several times where folks have come to us, developed some plans, and we've priced them, and they've walked away because of the overall cost. And I would say three times in particular that I can remember, these folks came back with a mess on their hands and said, hey, well, would you be interested in finishing this for me? Yeah. Unfortunately, each time I've declined because the projects were really at a point where there was so much stuff covered up that I could never I could never be responsible for because I don't know I don't know what's there.
Right. Yeah.
So, so it's a shame. You feel bad for them because, you don't want anybody to find themselves in that position.
Right.
But I think that one of the important parts of the fact that we're talking about this is really just to shine a light on the value of that general contractor. It's not a good idea for everyone to embark on these types of projects on their own. And in so many cases, it costs people a lot of money and a lot of heartache.
Exactly. Especially when it comes to like the big ticket items, I think like especially like electrical and plumbing, like your roof, all the big things, definitely don't recommend doing those on your own. Like hire somebody, you know what I mean? So of course, if you want to like paint a wall or something, knock yourself out, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Right. But to your point, there is a nuance. There is a coordination between those two trades. They don't start and stop as cleanly or as neatly as you might think. It's not like, okay, well, the roofer comes and the roofer does the roof, and then the sider comes and the sider does the roof. Well, those two phases of construction, along with the framer or the mechanical folks, all those things kind of tie into each other, and there is some overlap. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what you're doing and you haven't hired a really good trade, they could steer you down a rabbit hole really, really easily.
Yep, I've seen that happen many, many times. Yeah, very sad. I had somebody do that. They hired a contractor, and they had to put down like some crush and run. And then I guess before they did that, they forgot to do some kind of piping under the ground. So then they had to get it all taken out, put it back in. Just little things like that, and it just adds to the frustration and the cost of things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I can definitely understand why it's important to have a general contractor, to take care of all that. You're watching the whole project. You know what I mean? And you can see things happen before they even come up. You anticipate what's happening.
Sure. Well, you see things more holistically.
Yeah.
And through no fault of their own, your average homeowner does not have the ability to do that.
No, they don't. And also your connections are so important because you have vetted each person that works with you, so they're going to do a great job. So if we just call somebody out of, off of Google or whatever, they might be okay, but we don't know for sure. But I love that you know these people and you trust their work.
Yep.
So another great thing about you is that you answer your phone.
Right.
Yeah, so I know a lot of contractors, you will try to reach out to them and maybe a month or two later, they'll get back to you maybe if you're lucky. But that has to be so stressful for the homeowner. Like you're in the middle of a project, your house is in disarray, and you can't even reach your person, your contractor. You know what I mean?
It's kind of a blight on our industry. I think that not enough contractors realize the importance of that communication.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that we do this every day and most people don't.
Right.
So what we see as in progress, clients can see as alarming.
Exactly.
Because they don't know what they're looking at, and if they're not able to get a hold of you to identify what it is they're looking at, to get their questions answered, it could lead to hurt feelings.
Yeah, for sure. You're there to help ease their fear too, because they trust you, so you want to say like, yes, everything's fine, the project's going smoothly like it's supposed to be, and then they can sleep at night. Yeah. So I get that. For me, a general contractor and myself, best friends. Because you're my person that I can go to whenever I have an issue, and I know that you're going to take care of it. My clients are going to be happy. I definitely finding a good contractor has been probably the biggest struggle in my real estate career. Just finding people that actually will get back to you and answer your phone and just take care of my people. That's all I want. Because the worst thing is when you refer somebody and then they don't return calls or they don't show up or something worse happens, and then it's a reflection of me. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate that you take such good care of them and that you are so responsive and you just do a great job.
Yeah. And my takeaway from the realtor general contractor relationship is, you're a great lead source. I do what I do. I'm not a marketing guy. It is super easy when you are an operations guy at heart, making sure the trains run on time, to not be feeding the pipeline, and to have someone like you who is in front of people all the time, talking about new construction or remodeling, or always with these transactions where people are buying homes that they want to remodel or buying land that they want to build on. It's an essential component or element of how I run my business.
Yep, I love it. Yep. And I like when people come and ask me like about, hey, I need to do this project. I love having people that I can refer them to that I trust. I think the best way to find a general contractor is word of mouth, in my opinion.
I agree.
So talking to maybe your friends or your real estate agent or people that you trust in the community and find out who is doing a good job in your area. That's what I would do personally.
I agree. Whether it's a realtor or general contractor, anything for that matter. I agree with the word of mouth. We do very little advertising. We rely a lot on word of mouth. And I think that getting that warm introduction from someone you know, someone you trust, helps kind of prime the pump for that relationship.
Yeah.
So that you can trust at least who you are reaching out to for whether it's listing or selling your house or building or remodeling your home. There's a lot of value in getting that recommendation from someone you know and trust.
Love it. Yep. Great advice.
So another way the general contractor realtor association works is that we're both local experts in different areas.
Right.
Okay. So if someone asks me about waterfront property or school systems or whatever, that's not my thing. I'm going to turn them over to you. Okay. But if you're walking someone through their home and they're trying to decide whether they want to place an offer, whether they have enough money to do the renovations that they want to do, then you reach out to me and I'm able to come and give you at least some sense of what that investment's going to look like. Does it
makes sense.
Does it factor into their offer? Is it something that just crosses it off the list? So I think it's important that you and I work together at that level where, we stay in each other's lanes, okay, but we're on the same highway.
For sure. I love that analogy. And I always have people say, hey, can I knock down this wall? I'm like, I don't know. We have to call you.
Right.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah. Good advice. It's all about connecting people, finding people that you trust and that are hard workers, and just connecting everybody, like-minded people. That's what I think.
Yeah, there are a lot of tentacles to our business, and being able to connect with trades and mortgage lenders, or and even the local inspectors.
Yeah.
Having a relationship with the local municipalities, so that when you apply for permits or work through a project and you're working and you're getting inspections, having that rapport with a local municipality where they know you're going to do a good job is super important.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I definitely think that helps a lot. All the connections that you have, I'm sure, are amazing. Yeah, I think I've seen it all. You probably have too. I mean, just all kinds of stuff like extension cords ran all through the house, stuff like that. Like when I'm going to talk to somebody about selling, and they're like, oh, I did the electrical here. Here's all the extension cords running out of the ceiling and stuff. I'm like, oh gosh, you know what I mean? Like that's not going to fly.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So again, with the DIYers, I love them. My husband's one, and I try to be sometimes, but we got to leave it to the pros.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said before, I think that there is absolutely a time for DIY. I think it's just someone has to realize when that transitions to hiring a professional. It's funny, we were walking through a remodel with a client some years ago, probably 10 years ago. Super smart guy, thought he knew everything about everything. And I remember as we walked through and identified the scope of work, I came back with his proposal. And one of the things that he disputed was that we had included a new circuit for a hood. Okay. And he said, well, I have a hood right here. Why are you trying to sell me a new circuit?
Yeah.
So I said, well, when homes are this old, you just don't know if the wiring's appropriate. So we always add it so that we can always take it out. But if you need it, at least it's something that we've allocated for in the budget.
Right.
He insisted we take it out. So during demo, when we pulled the hood out, it was behind the wall was connected to a receptacle with a lamp extension cord.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So right away, when we pulled it out, he happened to be there.
Good. Okay.
And he looked at me and I said, that is why we include the circuit for the hood.
Right. You didn't say, I told you so. But yeah, I like that. Yeah. Makes sense. That's what we see all the time. I mean, yeah, there's some things you just should not mess with. Definitely not electricity. That scares me so bad when I
Same.
see people do that. Like, don't mess with that at all. Plumbing, another big one. I've seen some major disasters from that. I mean, just one small leak,
Yeah.
Water just trickles down and you got a big mess on your hands.
Yeah. Water, bulk water is the biggest claim that insurance companies, homeowner insurance companies, have to process. And electricity I mean, I've been in this business my whole life. Electricity scares me too, because you can't see it.
Right. Yeah.
So we're working on something now where there was a leak from in the home that we're remodeling.
Yeah.
Not associated with the work that we did.
Okay.
But there was a leak, and it entered into the space that we were working on.
Okay.
And because of the work we were doing, this water leak actually took a different path than it was before,
Okay.
and actually got into a receptacle and arced and
wow.
started creating smoke, and we had to fix it.
Oh my goodness.
So you just never know.
You don't.
You never know. And it is truly a health and safety kind of issue to have to be working with a professional.
For sure. Or you might end up like me. Like one time my husband decided to do electrical work in our closet back before I was in real estate and I knew better. And then every time I took a shower and he would be in our closet, our lights would all shut off in the house. I don't even know how that was possible, but something he did in the closet made it so every time he shut the closet door, all the lights went off in the bathroom. So I was like, oh my goodness, but you live and learn. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's possible to, some real estate agents might think it's okay to like go in the house and just say, oh yeah, you can do anything you want here, it costs nothing, you know what I mean? But I definitely try to go the other route, and I want to give people like a realistic expectation of what to expect, even like worst case scenarios, just because, I want it to treat people like I want to be treated, so that's what I want somebody to do for me. So do you agree with that?
I do. I think that's another thing that makes us alike. I do a vendor breakfast twice a year. And several years ago, before we started using our pre-construction process, we were losing a lot of projects that we were bidding. And I remember asking a lot of the trades that we work with, what's the difference? Like, we seem to be losing these projects, and why is that?
Yeah.
And they all said, well, when you ask us for the bids, you're asking us for what the client's going to look for and what they want. Other contractors are asking us for bare bones, just get the job, and we'll deal with change orders later.
Oh, okay.
So, I think, to your point, you want to make sure that you're giving people what they want. Okay, you're not just selling them a home or a project, that you're working with them as a trusted advisor to be able to give them good advice about the neighborhood that they're buying their home in, or something about the level of construction that their home may need if they move forward with that particular home. I just think it's telling people, kind of shooting them straight is really that's the best option.
I couldn't agree more. Definitely, that's how I was raised too. My parents were always like, just give it to them straight and then let them figure out if they want to work with you or not. So, and that's what I like to do too. So, for sure. Yes, whoever I recommend to people, of course, it's a reflection on me as well. So I always like to point them in the best direction possible, whether I'm referring a construction company to them or a lender, even if it's just, somebody to help them with cleaning the house, whatever it is. I want to make sure they're the best possible.
Coffee shop, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you'd be the best. Yeah, exactly. So
one of the frustrations for both of our industries is that it's fairly easy to become who we are. I think it's unfortunate that it's so easy to become a general contractor. It's not easy to stay a general contractor.
Right.
Okay, same thing with a realtor. Tons of people enter the real estate world every year.
We have 8,000
and they
active,
flame out really quickly. Just like anything else, if you're not any good, you're not going to make it.
I know a lot of people do have the misconception that they can just go in, it's going to be great, they're going to make tons of money. But I'm just like, that's not realistic at all. I mean, both of our careers are extremely busy, fast moving, you're on all the time. But I enjoy that. I like a fast paced environment like that. And just the meeting of the people is my favorite thing. Like I've just met so many amazing people just through real estate.
And I love all the moving parts. I am,
Yeah.
I like being the construction version of a traffic cop. You've got all these moving parts and people and kind of pointing everything in the right direction to end up with a succinct result is a lot of fun.
I 100% urge anybody that has any home projects to contact you to let you give them your advice and next steps, especially if they have a big project, they want to remodel their home, they want to build a new home. You are the person for them to reach out to. I know I've known you for quite a while now, and I know that you do great work, and I 100% know that you'll take care of anybody that we send your way.
Likewise, I think that it's important to me if I have anyone that's interested in real estate guidance is what I would call it, because at some level that's what it is. It's guidance.
Yes.
You're guiding them. You're guiding them from neighborhood to the home itself, to the value of the home and the pricing and all of those things that as a realtor, as a good realtor, how to answer those questions, how to guide people. So yeah, I think that that's the important thing. That's the important thing of any working relationship. Just being able to know, just like I have a good framer and a good HVAC contractor, I have a good realtor.
That's right. Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.